In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the most commonly run milk the game out calls in Madden 22. Probably the most frequently asked question I get in terms of how do I stop a certain run in the game is the I-form wing stretch alert lookie. So with this particular gap shoot, you'll never have to worry about this ever again. Let's get into it. What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to shut down the stretch alert lookie. Now, this is probably the most frequently asked question about stopping the run, as I talked about in the intro. I would say between the bunch tight end, which we talked about this week as well, in the vault on Gridiron Game Plan. So if you guys struggle with stopping that run, head over to my website. The link is in the description. This run, however, is the one that most players will call when they need one first down to finish a ball game. And they do it for a couple of reasons. One, it gets you out of those lighter defenses, those defenses like dollar or maybe the 2-4-5 odd with the safeties at linebacker, and it makes you have to put a real defense on the field. Real meaning taking those sub linebackers, which are more so cover players, off the field. You have to have those linebackers, and you don't want to get weak box, meaning that you get automatically pancaked. So these types of runs chase players out of their primary defense. The other reason for this is that RPO style stretches are a lot tougher to stop because players like to drop back in coverage because there are routes on the play. So it can kind of confuse your defense in terms of your coverage players about whether they need to attack the line of scrimmage or not. What's up, guys? Just want to say thank you so much for helping me reach 13,000 subscribers here on the Zan Madden YouTube channel. It means a ton to me that you guys are still supporting in the late spring into the early summer, and we're going to be pushing forward towards Madden 23 before you know it. If you guys could do me a quick favor, make sure that you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you're really wanting to help, make sure you guys drop a comment below. It helps push this video in the algorithm and helps this content get out to other Madden players just like you that are looking for Madden tips tutorials. Now back to the video. Don't worry though, we've got you guys covered. Pretty much everybody has a defense like this in their playbook. So you guys ought to be taking a look at the nickel 2-4-5. I would recommend switching playbooks. There are plenty of playbooks out there that have 2-4-5 odd, or one of the meta defenses like 3-3-5 wide, and then also has the 2-4-5 normal. So you're going to be able to run this as a situational defense in the situations that call upon it. And the cool thing about this is that you can determine the run fit that you desire based off of your strength of your defense. So if you guys play regs or you play ultimate team, maybe you have more so cover archetype corners, not really run support style players on the field. Maybe some of you have safeties at the outside corner position, so you want to get them involved in the run. So based off of what you guys like, we're going to talk about two different run fits, those being quarters and cover two, because they do things slightly differently. However, your gap shoot will not differ with these. So let's go ahead and kind of break it down. I've got Tampa 2 in the audibles. I'm going to choose cover 4 quarters. Now, one of the downsides to choosing any of these nickel style 2-4-5 defenses is that for some reason it auto flips incorrectly. So I've got a couple of suggestions for you. If you notice that they only like to run their twin tight end side to the wide side of the field, just go ahead and judge that based off of which hash the ball is on. Or if you guys want to, you can turn auto flip on and just know as soon as you break the huddle, the first thing you do is flip the play. That will align you correctly no matter what. Even if they flip their tight ends to the short side of the field, you're going to flip and you'll be lined up correctly. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you run this. For the purpose of this, I don't want to flip every single play. I just want to show you the gap shoots. Let's call it without auto flip on. Again, this is going to be something that you're going to run against your stretch alert lookie style runs. Now, what we're going to do with this particular run is we're going to kind of take you through the process in which I look at a offensive line. Whenever I'm struggling with a run, I will go into practice mode and I will analyze how the offensive line opens up based off of what defense I am in and where I want to stand with my user. Those two variables are very, very important. Obviously, you need to lab through the run fits. Like I said, we're going to go through cover 4 quarters and Tampa 2, but you need to really put your player in the spot where you will typically use her to find out exactly what your gap shoot is going to be. Labbing gap shoots is one of the most simple things in Madden, yet players are so apprehensive about doing it. They just kind of call the same defense and pray that sheds occur. It's really not that difficult to lab up a run gap shoot. So let's start off with the cover 4 quarters. As I mentioned, run fits are different between quarters and cover 2. So let's take a look. If we bring up the run fits, which you can do by holding the left trigger and then hitting B, or that would be circle on PlayStation for the right run fit, and X or square on PlayStation for the left run fit, you can see that in this particular run, if the run is to the right, I'm actually responsible for the left A gap. Now that's not going to matter so much with the gap shoot because I'm going to break down exactly what occurs here momentarily. So let's go ahead and not use her at all in this play, and we're going to snap the football and look at the instant replay. So when we do this here, you can see that first and foremost, we are able to cut that inside. It is a zone style run. Right there, they did a good job setting the edge. We didn't have the outside corners in the run fit, but the nickel corner did a good job of kind of holding leverage on the outside, so we had to bounce this run back inside. That is the benefit of a zone run. If you see a hole somewhere, you can cut back into it, as opposed to a power or a gap style scheme where the designated hole is really where the run is supposed to hit. There's a lot more freedom with zone runs. That's why inside zone and stretch are the two most popular runs in Madden nearly every single year. So very, very clearly, we see that that is a pretty good run fit in terms of funneling the run inside. Now we have to look for the interior gap. So when we take a look at this, we are using the backside linebacker, Logan Wilson. So when we snap the ball, the first thing that stands out to me is that the left guard, number 71, wants to block the user. You see that he fires out. And then the other guard, number 70, wants to block the inside linebacker or the Mike linebacker on this play. So he flies up. Meanwhile, the fullback is kicking out, looking for somebody to block on the outside. And you see that there is basically a lane to gap shoot in the front side A gap, but we have to avoid number 71. So knowing this, let's go ahead and put this into practice. We're going to run this again, but what we're going to do is we're going to use a lock-in tip. We talked about this already this week. If you are on defense and you want to time the snap, especially for gap shooting purposes, hit A or X on PlayStation and then flick the right stick up. That's going to bring up your individual coverage menu, and then your player will be locked in, meaning that if I move the stick, he won't move at all pre-snap. Now, with this, you're going to kind of play around with your positioning. So again, when we kind of lab that first, we were in this position. We're going to try to shoot the front side A gap from this spot. So meaning I'm going to hold basically to the right. So that way my first motion is to the right when the ball is snapped, and then I can fly down through that gap. So when this ball is snapped, you see that I'm flying down, and I can make a animation from behind, you know, a diving tackle or whatever that may be. So it looked pretty good on that play. So from this particular position, you see that it basically worked. And even on this example, the right guard, number 70, he did combo block on the nose tackle, and our Mike linebacker was free as well on this play, but that gap was still very, very apparent on this play. So you see that I was able to shoot that gap, and at this point, we're making a dive tackle animation. So, you know, if you guys want to, you can put a more athletic player. 245 allows you to put safeties and inside backer. So you guys could do that if you guys so please. Now, I did struggle. I was maybe a step late on that. So we're going to move over an additional step, playing head up on that guard that is in front of us. And this time, again, we're going to press. You want to make sure that you're physical at the point of attack. We're going to lock in. The ball snapped. We're running down this way. And then you see that right there, I had another animation where I could have dove and made a tackle for a loss in the backfield. That looked pretty good though. So let's go ahead and set that up. You kind of just shift head up on the guard, lock in, ball is snapped, you're flying down. And right there, we got sucked into the block, but that's okay because that means that our other players are in a good spot to make a play. So again, as we kind of practice through this, maybe you lock in. We'll put a faster player on the field here momentarily. Again, here as you run this, you see right there, I am very, very clearly able to get, you know, a dive tackle animation that, you know, be able to hit him from behind. So let's put a more athletic player on the field and then also take a look at a different run fit here momentarily. So we're kind of struggling athletically with Logan Wilson to get there. Let's put in Thomas a little bit faster. And this time we're going to call Tampa 2. So with the Tampa 2, what we're going to do here is we're still going to press, and there are some differences in the alignment in this particular defense. So the first thing you notice is that the inside linebacker in quarters is lined up over the right B gap. But in this particular defense, he's basically lined up plumb behind the shade tackle, which is this player, Ogunjobi. So what we would do is maybe kick this guy over a smidge, you know, just over this gap. And then I'm going to line up right here with Thomas. And again, we're going to try to lab up the run fit. So again, when we take a look at the run fit on a run to the right, now our outside corner is responsible for force. And on a run to the left, our other corner is responsible for keeping the run inside. So a little bit different than the quarters where the safeties were flying down in this particular play. So I'm going to lock in. Ball snapped, I'm going to try to fly in, and you see right there, I'm now more athletic. I can chase and pursue and get a diving animation from behind just by having a faster player on the field. Let's go ahead and work through that again. I pressed just like I did in quarters. I mirrored the exact pre-snap leverage of the or the positioning rather of the inside backer. I mirrored the inside positioning of my user. I lock in. Ball snapped, we're flying in through the A gap. Right there, we unfortunately didn't get a clean gap shoot. So you're gonna wanna lab through this over and over and over and try to, get this to a point where you feel really, really good about it. Again, not too much of a movement when, if your opponent flips their play, it's not gonna be too hard for you to replicate and mirror this setup. You're not really making coverage adjustments on this play. So again, here we're flying in. I'm able to make a tackle from behind very, very easily. If you guys have tackling abilities on your user, this would be great. Highly recommend. Right now, there's a bow nose meta out there. A lot of players are running it on William the Refrigerator Perry. His fullback card gets bow nose, which is awesome. I say that kind of tongue in cheek. It's fun to use, terrible to face, but very, very easy to gap shoot this. Again, you see how this kind of works. Now, as it pertains to calling other run defenses, so like, let's say that we were to call a cover 3 style defense. One thing that you might need to pay attention to when you do this is that you now have some different looking, you basically have a different run fit. Your safeties are now involved. The outside corners are no longer involved again. You could try to mirror the same setup and the same gap shoot. It might differ in terms of how the line opens up. You see right there, that's a lot different. Now I'm shooting front side B gap, so maybe a little bit different. So with this particular defense, maybe you base align and press just to kind of make it look a little bit more like this. But now you notice that the defensive linemen kind of shift in terms of where they're lined up. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to mimic this again. You take a look. I'm still going to try to gap shoot. Again, you're going to notice that this changes a little bit in how it works. So cover 3 doesn't work the exact same. That's kind of why I stuck with the cover 2 and the quarters defenses. Now, in terms of pairing this with, what coverage should I call for my run defense? The truth is that most players, when they run this, are going to look for the corner route off of play action. Cover 2 is not great for that. So what I would recommend is, if they're running PA Power O, the cool thing about this is that it's a match coverage. So if you're running quarters, you can still run the same setup. And if you realize very, very quickly that they're just running basically a runoff route, a corner, and a check down in the flat off of play action, they're not going to have any of that open because it is in fact match coverage. So they can't just chuck that corner route with reckless abandon because it is going to be played in a man match style defense. So I would recommend quarters because, lesser athletes on the field, more so run blockers, even the most elite tight end is probably not as elite as, Calvin Johnson is on the field, although there are a few pretty good receiving tight ends. The downside for those guys is that they don't run block well, so that's going to make your defense better. So I hope you guys liked today's video. This is a question I get every single week in our lab sessions on Gridiron Game Plans. If you guys are members of the website, make sure you guys take advantage of the Discord. Every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 Central, we have a lab session where I'm in there with my gameplay up, taking questions about just random stuff, whether that's a vault tip, a game plan tip, or something that people struggle with in game, like this particular run right here. We work through those things and answer them for you. So I hope you guys liked today's video. We'll see you guys right back here tomorrow with the next one. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.